Oh, I wanted to watch this Calamity leashing video. So Calamity, the guild master or one of the co-GMs of Hardcore Elite.
Hello, gamers.
Hello, Calamity. She made a video on how to leash and split pull in Classic WoW. I think I know everything in this video, but I've been DM'd it by many people and they're saying I should watch it. So maybe there's something I don't know in this video and we could maybe learn something. Let's take a look.
If you've ever asked yourself,
why are these mobs still following me?
Yeah.
You need to watch this video.
Okay,
this is a comprehensive guide.
I died yesterday at level 11 from... Okay.
To mob leashing and split pulling.
Okay.
Some of the mechanics in this video have never been covered on YouTube. So
I think I know all of these things, but maybe I don't. Maybe there's something that will be new. Let's take a look.
Without further ado, what is mob leashing? When you aggro a mob, this starts a mob leash. A leash ends when the mob decides to leave you alone and return to its spawn location. Until it returns, a mob is considered leashed. To understand mob leashing, we need to understand the leash timer and what interacts with it.
It's like 8 seconds or 10 seconds or something.
Depends on a few factors. Mob level, distance from spawn location, active hostile actions, and standing still.
Okay.
Let's start with mob level. So, mob level affects the leash timer in a complicated way. An easy rule of thumb is mobs have a leash timer of 9 seconds plus 1 second for every 10 levels. It's not one—
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it was just like 9 seconds. I didn't know it was an extra second per 10 levels. What does that mean? Higher level mobs don't leashes, like they take longer? Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. Did you guys know that? I thought it was
100% true, but it's an easy formula to remember.
Okay.
The actual formula is on screen. For example, mobs between level 1 to 20.
Okay, between 1 to 29 have an 11-second timer, then a 12-second timer, 13, 14, 15. I did not know that. I thought it was like always about 9. To be fair, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
29, leash for around 11 seconds. Except there's still a bit more to it.
Oh, God.
The timer is based on the lowest value in the range of levels a mob can spawn. For example, Dungarok Priests and Hillsbrad Foothills spawn between levels 29 and 30. Because their lowest value is 29, they correspond to the 1 to 29
that
leash
makes
timer,
sense.
even
That
if
makes
they're
a lot
level
of
30.
sense.
Whereas Cave Yetis spawn levels 30 to 31, so they always have a 30 to 39 leash timer.
Okay,
For the
that makes
sake
sense.
of transparency, I am confident in the formula, but I have found 3 exceptions to it. Just keep in mind, this is not real life. It is much more likely Blizzard made a coding error than it is the formula is wrong. For example, the start—
She found 3 exceptions. Calamity, have you pulled every mob in World of Warcraft with a timer up? With a stopwatch? Timing every mob leash? What do you mean you found 3 exceptions? Have you pulled every mob in the game? Holy shit.
Starving Blister Paws are a 41 to 42 mob that leash like they're level 29.
Okay.
Coincidentally, the lowest level hyena with the same model is the Kolkar Packhound in the Barrens, which is in the level 29 bracket range.
Okay, so that's probably just a bug.
It's much more likely an employee copied the hyena over and then forgot to edit the leash timer section
that's probably
before getting called away on a cubicle crawl. Anyway, it's overly nuanced for like no reason. Unless
we're going
you need a
there.
very specific timer.
Wait, hold on. Easy leash timer formula. 9 seconds. Okay, yeah.
Use the 9-second formula from earlier and save yourself the headache.
Yep, true.
Number 2, distance from spawn location. So, a lot of people think mob leashing is based on distance. This is sort of the case, but not exactly. As I explained earlier, it's a timer based on mob level. However, regardless of how you interact with a leash timer, it will never reset if you are too close to its spawn location. This distance seems to vary between 15 and 31 yards. I couldn't find a reason for the variation. Most mobs have a 31-yard leash range. Very few go to 15, and some had a 20. I only ever saw 15, 20, and 31. As you can see on screen, these level 9 mobs leash for 23 seconds.
So a lot of these things are things that if you've played WoW your entire life, you probably already know. right? Like if you pull a wolf and you just run in circles, that wolf will never reset. But if you pull the wolf far and really far, the wolf will reset. Unless you keep attacking the wolf, then the wolf will still follow you, right? So
They should only
this is
leash
stuff
for
we know.
11 seconds. This is because I'm within 31 yards of their spawn location for the first 22 seconds. The reason the ads reset and Princess doesn't is due to a technique called split pulling, which we'll cover later.
Chat, be nice or you're gonna get banned. Unbelievable. The fact that I have to say that, chat.
Let's first cover more of the basics. Number 3, hostile actions.
Hostile actions.
If you want to
okay.
kite a mob out of its spawn location and keep the leash from ending, what do? Any hostile action will cause a timer to extend. For example, if you were to melee a mob and it lands, this will extend the leash. Applying dots extends a leash. Damageless spells, such as counterspell or distracting shot, also extend leashes.
Okay, damageless spells, that's good to know. You can counterspell pull a mob further. Dodges, misses, and parries don't extend leashes. Although resists do extend leashes. Let's see if she'll say that.
Worth noting, dodges, parries, and misses do not extend leashes as they are not successful hostile actions. Ticks of damage from dots do not, as they are not new actions. If a spell is reflected back at you, it also does not extend a leash. Additionally, damage from thorns and red aura don't extend leashes as they are not actions. Basically, if you make a direct hostile action against the enemy, its leash will extend. However, spells behave weirdly. While I personally wouldn't consider this a successful hostile action, Blizzard does.
She does cover it. Resists and immunes do extend the leash. I found this out the hard way when I was trying to solo Ebonrock and failed miserably. Resist and immunes do extend leashes. You wouldn't think they would. You wouldn't think they would. But they do. I've tested it. I don't know why. Well, I was trying to kite a dragon across the world and I didn't have time to frostbolt, so I was like, I'll just fire blast, but the fire blast was immune. Yeah, I think it was immune because it was the fire rock or whatever. And the immunity kept the leash going.
Spell that is resisted or immuned also extends leashes. They do not work like misses and parries for whatever reason. Number 4, standstill. This is the least known method for extending a leash. If a mob stands still for 1.5 seconds, or if it melees you while standing still, its leash timer will extend. So mobs with fast attack speeds, such as cats, will actually reset their leash if they stand still for 1 second, because that's how quick their attack speed is.
Wow, I never knew that, but it makes a lot of sense. Like, I never consciously thought about it, but like my subconscious was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because like I've seen that interaction within the game before, where if you're kiting and you're standing still for a while and you keep kiting and you're standing still for a while, they'll like keep following you. So that makes perfect sense. I've never like thought about that though. Yeah.
While slow attacking mobs like ogres reset while standing still for 1.5 seconds because their attack speed is slower. It is worth noting this only applies to melee attacks. Range mobs and casters do not have their timer extended while standing still. If a mob melees you while running, its timer will not extend, only if you're standing still. This means it's not always beneficial to stop and heal if a leash timer is close to resetting.
You just run away.
Standing and healing will cause the mob to extend its leash and chase you for
not bad.
That covers most everything in regards to the leash timer itself. Now we can cover some more nuances, starting with leash queuing.
More nuances. Okay, maybe we can learn something here. Okay, let's take a look.
Queuing is what happens when multiple units have generated an active hostile action against a mob. For example, if you are a hunter with a pet and you both attack a mob, you and your pet are each a unique unit on a mob's leash table. Leashes work in a queue from this table. So for example, if you attack a mob first and your pet attacks second, the mob will chase you until your timer ends and then go to the next unit in queue, your pet.
That makes a lot of sense.
Until their timer breaks.
Like you're in a party.
As far as I'm aware, there's no cap to this, so a raid of 40 players theoretically has a 5-minute leash queue between them all. Notice how I said units that have generated an active hostile action? So even engineering pets like compact harvest reapers and mechanical yetis add an extra queued leash to a mob. This means it's usually easier to kill, CC, or de-render a mob when in a group rather than trying to de-leash it. And yes, I just mentioned de-rendering or CCing. Let's talk about that. Yay for segues. Number 6, de-rendering/CC. Applying crowd control to a mob causes its leash timer to extend because it's standing still. So
Makes
how does
sense.
this help us? 1, it can give you space to get distance if needed. And 2, if it lasts long enough, like a mage polymorph or a hunter frost trap, you can actually run away from the mob until it de-renders. Once a mob de-renders, its leash breaks no matter what else is happening. Hunters and warlocks can also use their pets to cause a de-render. If the mob is attacking your pet, you can start running and send your pet in the other direction to incite a de-render. Just keep in mind when using the CC method, if the mob has a chained leash, CCing it in this way will cause the other mobs it's chained to have an extended timer until the CC'd mob de-renders. And now we need to cover chain leashing.
I wonder if you can change your render distance to abuse this. Like, or maybe the render distance is unchangeable within WoW. I know you can change view distance, but maybe the distance of which mobs render is set. It probably is set. It probably is set. It probably is. Yeah. Server side. It's server side. Okay, you can't change it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on chat. Guys, if you have nothing nice to say, then don't say nothing, all right? We learned that when we were in 2nd grade, and that's how it works. Done. I'm keeping an eye on chat. We'll see. If there's something wrong, boom, that's a perma. Easy clap.
Number 7,
Easy
chain
clap.
leashing. Chain leashing is what happens when you attack a mob and it does a cry for help. Do not confuse this with the emote raptors do when they're low health. Every mob in the game does a cry for help when it's first brought into combat after roughly 0.5 seconds. Any mob that responds to the cry for help and comes to assist will have its leash chained to the original mob. So doing anything to extend the leash on one mob extends the leash on all of them.
Because they're
this
chain
can
groups.
be circumvented using a technique called...
That's what happened to me yesterday with the damn level 11 warrior in the tomb. Unbelievable.
split pulling.
Unbelievable. I hit one and then I hit the other.
Number 8.
Split pulling. This is good.
If you
This is good.
attack a group of mobs
This is
at
good.
the same time with an AoE ability or item, because they are already on a
AoE
leash
pulling,
table,
yep.
they are not affected by call for help. This is a split pull. In doing this, you can single out select mobs that you want and keep it leashed using previous techniques, and the others reset normally. It is worth noting you can split pull using your own body if you absolutely have to, as long as you aggro the mobs
All at
before
the
the
same
first
time.
mob does a cry for help. This is
Right.
a little risky, as you have no way of knowing if the split pull worked or not.
Wait, so with the split pull, I thought you AoE'd all the mobs, and then they were all on separate timers. But it looks like she AoE'd these mobs and got to pull this one. Did I misunderstand split pulling? I thought you AoE'd all the mobs, and since you all aggroed them at the same time, they all have a different timer versus the cry for help keeping them together. The extra one is chained to someone. Oh, yeah, true. Okay, so this one isn't split pulled. Okay. Okay, cool. That's good to know.
As you have no
That's
way
really
of
good to know.
knowing if the split pull worked or not until after the first 15 seconds, when you find out the mobs are still chasing you. You can also split pull by CCing a mob and using the de-render method to forcefully end the leash, causing the other mobs to continue chasing you. One exception to this is with pets. Any mob that is denoted as a minion, pet, or guardian of another mob is instantly linked to their master and any other pets, regardless of distance or split pulling.
So there's some mobs that have there's some mobs you can't split pull. Like if it's a boss with 2 ads, then I don't think you can split pull that, right? At all.
Using the clip from the very start of this video as an example, all of these skeletons are guardians of Zanzel, so they are all linked together, even the ones way in the distance. So hamstringing a single skeleton releashes all of them
Yeah.
because they are all linked.
Yeah.
One quick note about using the de-render strategy on
Yeah.
an NPC with a pet. This actually causes a
That's
bug
bad.
where the pet will follow you forever while evading attacks. So if you want to do the de-render split on mobs with pets, do it
Interesting.
on
I
the
never knew
pet
that.
and not the owner.
I never knew that.
So that about covers it. The
Cool.
only thing left to mention is that monsters in dungeons never end their leashes. They follow you forever. These are the rules of leashing. I'm sorry the video was so long. There's just so much to cover. I hope you learned something, and
I did.
I hope
I
you
learned
can
something.
find clever ways to use your new knowledge while leveling in Azeroth. If you enjoyed this, consider blessing me with a click of the like button. The
Poggers?
likes to views ratio really helps me know what kind of
I'll give it a like. Boom. I liked the video. Cheese. Well done. Yeah, we learned a lot. A lot of this stuff I think I knew, but it's still good to figure out why. Like the stand still, it was in there somewhere, but I've never consciously thought about why or how that actually works. The de-render one is like also, right? It's like, okay, if you run far enough away, sure. But like as soon as it de-renders, you're out of combat. That's also good to know. The chain leashing, split pulling. Yeah, pretty damn cool video. Thanks for linking it, boys.